The person you love wants to tell you something very important right now. Please read this message immediately. My beloved child, something has quietly reached this very moment because a heart that has been carrying hidden words for far too long can no longer remain silent. There is someone you love whose thoughts have been circling around you again and again, hoping that somehow these feelings would find their way to you before another day passes. What they have been holding back is not ordinary, and the longer they stayed silent, the heavier their heart became. They have replayed countless conversations in their mind, wondering if the right moment would ever arrive, but today feels different. A quiet shift has happened, and it has filled them with the courage they never had before. Every memory connected to you has suddenly become brighter, every unanswered question louder, and every emotion impossible to hide. If you could hear what they are whispering to themselves right now, you would realize why this message feels so personal, because the next truth waiting to be revealed could change everything you believed about their silence. For reasons even they struggle to explain, your name has refused to leave their thoughts, appearing in unexpected moments, reminding them that some connections never truly disappear no matter how much time passes. They keep remembering the smallest details about you, the little things they never admitted mattered so much, and those memories have become impossible to ignore. Deep inside, they are afraid that if they wait any longer, the opportunity to finally speak from the heart may slip away forever. There is one sentence they have rehearsed over and over, yet every time they imagine saying it, emotion takes away the words. They wish you could understand how many nights they have spent searching for the perfect way to tell you what has been hidden beneath every smile, every quiet glance, and every moment that seemed ordinary but never truly was. What makes this even more astonishing is that the message they are protecting is far greater than a simple confession, and once you hear what comes next, nothing about their behavior will seem mysterious anymore. Yet the most unexpected part has not even arrived, because just before this message could finally reach you, something happened that neither of you could have predicted. It forced them to stop, reflect, and realize that waiting was no longer an option. Their heart is now standing between fear and hope, holding a truth so meaningful that it has the power to answer questions you never dared to ask. Every second has brought them closer to revealing what has been hidden, but there is one final piece of the story that must be understood before those words can finally be spoken. The reason they have chosen this exact moment will surprise you more than anything that has happened so far, because what they are about to reveal next has been waiting far longer than either of you could ever imagine. What happened next was not a coincidence, because just as they gathered the courage to speak, a quiet realization settled into their heart that changed everything. They suddenly understood that keeping their feelings locked away was no longer protecting anyone, it was only creating more distance between two people who were never meant to remain strangers to each other's thoughts. Every ordinary moment began reminding them of you. A familiar song, an unexpected conversation, even the smallest memory carried your presence back into their mind. They kept asking themselves whether you had ever felt the same invisible connection, or whether you had simply moved forward while they stayed behind with words they never had the strength to say. That unanswered question has followed them everywhere, and today it has become impossible for them to ignore. Meanwhile, something even more surprising has been unfolding beneath the surface without either of you realizing it. The moments that once seemed confusing now fit together like pieces of a picture that was always waiting to be completed. They finally recognized that every delay, every missed opportunity, and every unexpected silence had been teaching them something about the value of what they almost lost. Instead of pushing their emotions away, they began embracing them with honesty for the first time. They are no longer searching for the perfect sentence because they have discovered that the most meaningful words are often the simplest ones. Even so, there is one truth they still hesitate to reveal, not because they doubt their feelings, but because they wonder whether hearing it will change the way you see everything that came before. That single truth has remained hidden until this very moment. And now the silence is reaching its final limit. The message they have protected for so long is closer than ever to being spoken aloud, yet one final memory continues to hold them back. It is a memory connected to you that has never faded, no matter how much time has passed or how many distractions life placed in their path. They believe that once you understand why that memory means so much, every unanswered question will suddenly make sense. But before they can reveal the words they have carried in their heart all this time, there is one unexpected detail from their past that you have never heard before, and it is that forgotten moment that will decide everything that comes next. There is a reason that forgotten moment has remained hidden until now, because it was never about fear alone. It was about protecting a feeling that seemed too precious to risk. Long before today, they experienced a quiet instant that changed the way they looked at you forever. You may not even remember it, yet for them it became the beginning of a story they replayed countless times in their heart. A simple smile, a few unexpected words, or a brief glance became a memory that refused to fade. While the world kept moving forward, they carried that single moment like a secret treasure, wondering if you had felt even a fraction of what they felt. Every passing day only made that memory stronger, and now they realize it has been guiding them toward this exact moment. What makes this even more incredible is that they recently discovered something about themselves they had never admitted before. They were never searching for perfect timing, they were searching for certainty. They wanted to know that when they finally revealed what had been living inside their heart, it would reach you in the way it was meant to. That is why so many words remained unspoken and so many chances quietly slipped away. But the silence has taught them something powerful: genuine feelings do not disappear just because they are hidden. Instead, they grow deeper, clearer, and impossible to ignore. Every thought now leads back to the same conclusion: that keeping this message inside any longer would only leave another chapter unfinished. Yet there is one detail they still have not shared, and it explains why today feels completely different from every day before. Now everything is moving toward a turning point neither of you expected. They are standing at the edge of a decision that could finally bring every hidden emotion into the light. Their heart is no longer asking whether they should speak. It is asking whether they have waited far too long already. The words they are preparing to reveal are not ordinary, because they have been shaped by every memory, every unanswered question, and every hope they quietly carried. But just before those words leave their heart, one unexpected realization stops them in their tracks. It is a realization connected to you that changes the meaning of everything they believed, and once that final truth is uncovered, nothing about this story will ever feel the same again. Just when they believed they were finally ready to reveal everything, an unexpected realization gently took hold of their heart. They began to see that every moment of silence between you was not empty at all, it was quietly shaping a deeper understanding. The unanswered questions, the conversations that never happened, and the emotions left hanging in the air suddenly seemed connected by an invisible thread. They started wondering if every delay had been preparing both of you for a moment that would carry far greater meaning than either of you could have imagined. That thought stayed with them day and night, growing stronger with every passing hour, until they could no longer dismiss the feeling that something extraordinary was drawing closer. Then another memory returned with surprising clarity, one they had almost forgotten but could never truly leave behind. It reminded them of a time when they almost spoke honestly, when the words reached the edge of their lips but quietly slipped away before they could be heard. Since that day, they have imagined countless versions of how everything might have unfolded if they had found just a little more courage. Yet instead of living with regret, they chose to hold on to hope, believing that some messages arrive exactly when they are meant to. Now they understand that this is not simply about expressing feelings, it is about revealing a truth that has quietly shaped every decision they have made since then. And the closer they come to sharing it, the more certain they become that you have sensed this connection long before either of you could explain it. Now the distance between silence and honesty has become smaller than ever before. They are no longer asking themselves whether you deserve to know the truth, because in their heart that answer has never changed. What still remains hidden is the single sentence they have protected more carefully than anything else, a sentence capable of explaining every hesitation, every quiet glance, and every unspoken emotion that has surrounded this story from the beginning. They are only moments away from saying it aloud, but before those words can finally reach you, something completely unexpected happens, something that changes the direction of everything and reveals that this story has been leading toward an even greater truth all along. Everything shifted in the quietest way imaginable, not because of a dramatic event, but because they finally stopped running from the truth their own heart had been repeating for so long. In that still moment, they realized they had spent too much time wondering what might happen if they spoke, and not enough time thinking about what could be lost if they never did. Every hesitation suddenly felt smaller than the feeling they carried for you. The memories that once made them smile now carried a deeper meaning, and the future they had only imagined began to feel possible for the first time. They understood that some people enter your life for a reason that cannot be explained by chance alone, and whether you knew it or not, you had become the person they silently compared every new experience to. That realization gave them a quiet kind of courage they had never felt before. As that courage grew, they found themselves looking back at every sign they had overlooked. They remembered moments when your words seemed ordinary but stayed with them for days. They remembered the unexpected comfort they felt whenever your name appeared, as though it carried a sense of familiarity they could never replace. Little by little, the pieces came together until they formed one undeniable picture. It was never about finding the perfect moment to speak. It was about becoming the kind of person who could finally express what had always been true. And just when they thought they had uncovered the entire story, they discovered one final detail that made their heart race, a detail connected to something you once did without realizing its impact. They have carried that memory in silence ever since, waiting for the day they could tell you why it changed them forever. Now that day feels closer than ever. The message they have been protecting is no longer hidden behind uncertainty, because every unanswered question has led them to this single point. They are ready to reveal the words that have lived inside them through every season, every quiet hope, and every unspoken dream. Yet before those words can finally be shared, they uncover one astonishing truth that neither of you expected to find. It is a truth that reshapes every memory you thought you understood, and once it is revealed, you will see that this journey was never only about what they wanted to say, it was about the remarkable reason they were meant to say it now, : What they uncovered next left them completely still, because the truth was far more meaningful than they had imagined. They realized that every path they had taken, every delay they had questioned, and every quiet moment of reflection had been guiding them toward this exact point. Looking back, they could finally see that nothing had been wasted. Even the silence had carried a purpose. The feelings they once tried to ignore had only become clearer with time, growing stronger instead of fading away. For the first time, they stopped asking whether destiny had separated you for a while and started believing that every chapter had been preparing both of you for a conversation that could only happen now. That single realization filled them with a sense of peace they had never experienced before. Then their thoughts returned to one unforgettable promise they had made only to themselves. They had quietly decided that if the opportunity ever came again, they would never allow fear to speak louder than honesty. That promise has stayed alive through every passing day, waiting patiently for the moment when it could finally become real. Now they feel that moment has arrived. They no longer want their heart to remain hidden behind careful words or unanswered questions. Instead, they want you to understand the story that has been unfolding inside them all along. They believe that once you hear the complete truth, many moments that once seemed confusing will suddenly make perfect sense. Yet even now, there is one final piece they have kept locked away, not because they doubt you, but because revealing it will change the entire meaning of everything that has happened so far. Now the distance between the hidden message and the spoken truth has almost disappeared. Their heart is no longer carrying uncertainty, it is carrying anticipation. They are only one step away from sharing the words they have rehearsed countless times, words capable of explaining every smile, every pause, and every silent hope they have held on to. But just before those long-awaited words can finally reach you, they discover something unexpected about your connection that neither of you ever noticed before. That astonishing discovery becomes the final key, and once it is revealed, the message they have been longing to tell you will take on a meaning far greater than either of you ever dreamed possible. The final key appeared when they stopped searching outside themselves and finally listened to the quiet voice that had been guiding them all along. In that peaceful moment, everything they had been trying to understand suddenly became clear. They realized that the connection they felt with you had never depended on perfect timing or perfect words. It had quietly survived unanswered questions, long pauses, and countless moments when life seemed to pull your paths in different directions. Instead of weakening, those feelings had become stronger with every passing day. That is why they are no longer afraid of what tomorrow might bring. What matters now is that the truth has finally found its way to the surface, and once it is spoken, nothing will ever feel uncertain in quite the same way again. As this realization settled into their heart, they began remembering the smallest moments that once seemed too ordinary to matter. They remembered a conversation that ended too soon, a smile that stayed in their thoughts long after the day was over, and a feeling of comfort they could never explain whenever you came to mind. Those simple memories slowly revealed a pattern they had overlooked for far too long. Every meaningful chapter of their journey somehow carried your presence, even when you were far away. That discovery convinced them that some people are connected by more than chance, and that the words they have been holding back were never meant to remain hidden forever. Still, there is one deeply personal truth they have not yet shared because it carries the greatest weight of all. Now they are standing at the edge of the moment they have imagined countless times, their heart filled with equal parts hope and anticipation. The message they want to give you is no longer just about emotions, it is about revealing something that has quietly shaped every decision they have made until today. They know that once those words leave their heart, you will finally understand why every silence, every memory, and every unexpected turn in this story has mattered. But before that long-awaited message can finally be revealed, one last unexpected piece of the puzzle rises to the surface, and it has the power to change not only how you see them, but how you understand this entire journey from the very beginning. At last, the hidden piece began to reveal itself in the gentlest way, and it answered a question that had been quietly following this story from the very beginning. They finally understood that the strongest feelings are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes they live inside the smallest moments, waiting patiently until the right time arrives. Looking back, they could see that every conversation, every unexpected pause, and every memory that refused to fade had been leading toward this single realization. Nothing between you had ever been meaningless. Even the moments that seemed ordinary were quietly shaping a message that was never meant to be forgotten. That is why they no longer see the past with regret. Instead, they see it as the path that brought them closer to speaking with complete honesty. Then their hearts settled on one simple truth they could no longer keep hidden. More than anything else, they wanted you to know that your presence had changed them in ways they never expected. You inspired hope during uncertain days, brought calm into restless moments, and reminded them that genuine connections do not disappear simply because time passes. They stopped searching for perfect words because they realized perfection was never the goal. Sincerity was. Every feeling they had carefully protected now seemed ready to become a message that could finally be understood without fear or hesitation. Yet just before they shared those long-awaited words, one final realization touched their heart, making the message even more meaningful than they had imagined. Now everything is perfectly aligned for the truth to be revealed. The silence that once separated thoughts from words has almost disappeared, and the distance between hidden emotions and open honesty has become smaller than ever before. They are ready to tell you the one message they have carried through every memory, every unanswered question, and every quiet hope. But before those words finally reach you, they discover an unexpected detail that explains why this moment feels so different from every moment before. That final discovery will not only reveal what they have been trying to say, it will uncover the true reason this message could only arrive now, setting the stage for the most unforgettable part of the story yet.